Hello, and welcome back to this special edition of Diecast Graveyard. My name is Paul. Guys, we got an excellent build-off today. We're having a build-off for St. Patrick's Day. Now, I challenged folks here a couple months back to go ahead and build a car for St. Patrick's Day, and it had to be a St. Patrick's Day theme, but the car also had to be green or shades of green. So let's see at the end of the video what the other folks came up with who don't have a YouTube channel. But there's a lot of folks with a YouTube channel that are going to be doing this build also. I will try and have a recap video within the next day or so you can check out their videos also. Now, at the end of the video, I'm going to want you to comment in the recap video which car you like best, because the one that gets the most votes is going to win a prize. Let's go ahead and move on. Obviously, this is my build. Now, my build will not count in the voting, so don't vote for my car. We got the car drilled apart here. Now, I like these specialty gassers because they come with a metal base and they already come with real rider tires. Now, one of the things about these cars here is they have a premium paint job, which means they have more than one layer in a lot of cases. Man, I love those real rider tires. We're going to detail up the engine, put some spark plug wires in there, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And we're going to reuse the yellow glass because it'll go in with the paint job. Now, one of the things you're going to have to do here is if you take some sandpaper and score the paint, because like I said, these are premium paint jobs, and you're going to have to score the paint in order for the paint stripper to get in a little bit easier. Now, I've done this in the past, and it's really helped. And you may have to let it set in the paint stripper for a little bit of a longer time, because like I said, not only do they have the paint job, they've got the tampos on there, they've got other colors on top of it, and they've got clear coat too. So you're going to have to soak it for a while. And this sandpaper will break the tension on the paint, and you'll be able to have that paint stripper work that much better. This is something I had to learn by accident because I was in a hurry to get a car done, and the paint stripper just wasn't taking the paint off. And like I said, sometimes I'll say some curse words. It just isn't on the video. But let's go ahead and move on. Once I got the paint stripped off and I got it all cleaned up with degreaser, I use Zep degreaser. I use this Tamiya surface primer. Now, this stuff is expensive, folks. It's like 10 bucks a can or 11 bucks a can, but you know what? It's still worth it, so I use it when I need to. We got it all primed up with this Tamiya primer, and we're going to go ahead and start spraying the colors on. Nice base coat. Here I'm using Wicked colors. The very first color I'm going to use is fluorescent green. Now, when I mix up the paint, I use the 40-30 balancing clear at about 10%, and then I use the 40-13 reducer at approximately 10%. Now, I normally start off with a little bit less because I don't want the paint too soupy. So take your time. Now, when you're putting the paint in the little cup or whatever you're mixing it in, how much paint you put in there is up to you, depending on how much you think you're going to use for your car. And then top it off with approximately 10% of the other ingredients. Here we've got the fluorescent green all done. Now we're going to get this semi-opaque emerald green, and we're going to do a fade from the back to the front. Same mixture, 10% of the 40-30 balancing clear and the 40-13 reducer. And here's the result from the faded paint job. That's looking excellent. We'll let that dry for a minimum of 30 minutes, if not longer, but the longer the better. Now we're going to start putting on the decals. I designed these decals myself with the help of Kenny Terry. Now, an update on Kenny Terry, folks. He's been critically ill. And my friend is in intensive care in a hospital up in Kentucky, and he's been there for a while. He got the COVID, and he also just is not doing well. But I'm hoping that he'll pull through and get back to work here pretty soon, and hopefully he'll get the rest he needs and come back nice and healthy. And let's put in a prayer for Kenny Terry, folks, and hope that everything turns out okay for him and his family. So Kenny got these printed for me before he got ill. But there's just something about Irish girls with red hair that I absolutely love. So I got this picture and decided to name this car Shenanigans. That looks pretty darn wild. I love it. That is sweet. We'll let that dry, then we'll get it clear coated. Now let's talk about the interior. Here I've taken the interior and the engine compartment. I drilled 4 evenly spaced holes, kind of evenly spaced, and I used my little pin vise here to drill the holes. These are going to be the holes that we're going to put in the spark plug wires. Now, once you drill the hole by hand, you can see that it's hollow on the inside. That's going to be good because we're going to pull the spark plug wires through there. So that's going to be excellent. Now, I know a lot of you guys have been thinking about doing spark plug wires on your cars to do the detailing and stuff like that. Well, here we're going to help you out. I've got the holes drilled, like I said, and I've got these spools of wire that I found on Amazon. Now, I have these on my Amazon Marketplace page. Now, what's really cool about these spark plug wires, and these are wires to make bead necklaces and stuff like that, but these wires all come in different colors, so I bought the entire pack so I can possibly get the spark plug wires to match the color of the car that I'm doing. Well, on this particular one, I still decided to use the red spark plug wires. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting 8 equally length pieces of wire at probably about 2 to 3 inches a piece. That should give you more than enough room to take care of that. Now, here's today's tip from your Uncle Paulie. Go to my Amazon Marketplace page if you want these spark plug wires and order this whole packet. It's only a few dollars. It's really not that much. I can't remember the price off the top of my head, but go ahead and order these. Now what I did is I took the wire and I'm cutting 8 equal lengths of the wire, or approximately equal lengths. Let's go ahead and get those cut. We'll get these cut up. Let's move on. We've got the 8 pieces of wire. Now we're going to go ahead and twist them together at the very end. I got this little piece of brass tubing, and I'm going to feed those wires inside the brass tubing to hold them together. Go ahead and kind of screw them in if you can get them all in. Sometimes it's easier said than done. Now that we got them sticking out of the bottom, get them all nice and straight now. That's cool. Now we got the base. Here's the spark plug wires. I went ahead and I super glued the bottom of the wires to hold them in place. Now I'm putting 4 wires to either side, and they're going to fit right behind the engine. Now they don't fit behind the engine very easy. You're going to have to get in there with a file and file the firewall back and also the back part of the engine in order to get that little piece of brass tubing in there with the wire in it. So that there, the back of the engine where basically the transmission would go, and the firewall. So go ahead and get your file in there and file that a little bit flatter so you can get that spark plug distributor cap in there. Seeing how to put these wires together, folks, this is definitely worth the price of admission. Go ahead and click that like button if you would, please. And if you got anything you'd like to see in future builds, or any tips or tricks or anything like that, go ahead and put them in the comments. I read every single comment. I might not answer them all, I do my best to, but I read every single one. A lot of this stuff that you're doing here is just the little detail work, but you know what? The detail work is what makes your build. This is what makes it outstanding, and when somebody looks at it and go, wow, look at this, look at that, look at those spark plug wires, look at the faded paint job, look at those real rider tires, look at how he detailed up the headlights and the tail lights. This is excellent. That's the stuff that makes these builds, folks, is the details. Now, I've got a lot of friends that have got YouTube channels also, such as Keith at Outlaw Speed Shop, Paul at Fat Guy Productions, George at Hodges Hot Wheels and Diecast, Lee at Time Riders Wee Little Cars, Jeff at 164 Revival, Xavier at Diecast Show Customs, Cole at Kuda's Diecast Customs, Opa over there at Opa's Diecast Restorations. Check these guys out, folks. Diecast Pirate. There's a new YouTube channel there. Check them out. They got a lot of folks. John Sellers, Jim Silva. My gosh, there's so many. Orange Track Outlaws. Andrew over at, oh my gosh, Maple Leaf Matchbox Makeovers over there in Switzerland. Okay? There's so many folks, guys. Paul at Pimp My Diecast over there in the UK. Check these guys out. Now we're going to put the distributor cap in between the engine and the firewall. Slide that in place, push it down with your tweezers or your razor knife or whatever, and either hit it with the accelerator or let it set and dry. Just going to push that down just a little bit. Make sure that it's centered. That's looking good. Now, one thing you have to think about here. This distributor that you just put in will not fit in the body. The body in the center of the firewall in the back, you're going to have to file a groove in the firewall of the car in order for this distributor to fit. Something to think about when you go to do this. That looks good. Now we're going to feed the spark plug wires through the holes that we drilled before. Now I'm going to take the spark plug wire with some tweezers and I'm going to feed it through the hole. Just like so. Now once I feed it through the hole, I flip it over and reach in that hollow spot on the engine and then pull it through with the tweezers, pulling it taut. Now don't pull it too tight because you're going to have to adjust these things later on to make them look really cool. One at a time, feed them through, and then pull them through with the tweezers. That's looking excellent. Now we'll have to do the other side also. Now, once you pull them through, go ahead and snip them off underneath and then push them off to the side. And if you want to, go ahead and put a little bit of glue in there. That looks sweet. Let's go ahead and move on to more detailing. Let's detail the engine a little bit more. I got these velocity stacks 3D printed from my friend Grizz at Bearcat 3D Designs. He makes these things and he sells them, and I'll tell you what, you need to get some of these if you're going to be building gassers and like that. Now I'm going to take just a little Tester's model cement and put just a little drop on each carburetor. and put that velocity stack on there. If you want to get some of these velocity stacks, contact Bearcat 3D Designs at www.bearcat3ddesigns.com and let Grizz hook you up with a super fine product. That looks excellent. Look at that. Now we're going to go back in a little bit later and we're going to cover them up with a Molotow chrome pen and blend them into the engine. Let's go ahead and see our final results. And here's what we got to, folks. Look at this gasser shenanigans. Now, I don't think anything says anything more Irish than a red-headed girl holding a beer with clovers all over the car. Man, I tell you what, I love this car. I love the design. Now, here's the cool thing. The winner that is selected by the folks when I do the recap video, the winner that is selected will win this car. They will win this car. Now, the winner has to send their car to me so I can have a little bit memento here also. Now, gassers are great. I love gassers, but some people don't like gassers. So this isn't the only thing you can do with these Bel Air cars, folks. You got the gasser all jacked up in the air and everything like that. But there's other things you can do. How about slammed? Look at this beautiful slammed car. I got the all-metal base, this die-cut base from Extreme One on Instagram. Look at that. And I also got the rims from Extreme One. Now, they're not cheap, but you know what? They're beautiful. But look at this slammed car with those beautiful wheels, that beautiful metallic base, or that metal base, I should say, and it fits perfectly. This turned out fantastic also. How beautiful. Here we go side by side. Gasser and slammed. Now, there's a few folks that don't have a YouTube page, but I wanted everybody to participate. Now, these builds will also be included in the recap video for voting. NGC Prime 82 used a bone shaker to come up with this creation. That looks absolutely wild. Here's Mr. Morten Henningsen from Norway. What a beautiful build. He's got the Irish green down there for sure. That looks fantastic. John McCabe, this is his entry. Painted the car like the Irish flag. That is absolutely beautiful. Look at those wheels. SUSTRJB. Now, I didn't have his name because he sent an email, but he said his granddaughter helped him with this build. Beautiful. Mr. Gary Tasker from Scotland used a DeLorean made in Ireland and used the green. How beautiful. Check out the folks at spraygunner.com. They've got a complete line of airbrushes for all your airbrush needs. They've got a really cool line of compressors to include their wonderful no-name compressors. They've got airbrush paints from Createx, which is an incredibly great brand. They've got their in-house brand called Chroma Air. I love these paints. Airbrush kits from Grex and No Name and many other manufacturers. Spend less, get more at spraygunner.com. Like I said, folks, I'll be having a recap video here within the next day or two. Please check out the other builds, and in the recap video, vote for one that you like, because that person is going to win that gasser. This is Paul from Diecast Graveyard. Stay tuned. We got other build-offs coming up, and everybody's invited.